All right. This is big time. If anybody wants to jump on, always taking people who want to talk and have a conversation and all that stupid shit. So, anyway, this is my channel. I cover defensive gun use. I cover all things stupid in Pennsylvania, as I live in Pennsylvania. So, we got some Pennsylvania crime, got some New York crime and stupidity. And it's just amazing to watch Philly and New York die. And in our final section, we have They're Coming for the Kids. So I'll try to do this in order. Got a link in the description. In case you don't know, I cover defensive gun use. This is one of the sources I use. Link in the description, Gun Violence Archive. And while it does show, while there have been, according to this, 636 mass shootings. I know there's been over 700. There's also been 1,122, according to this website, defensive gun uses. So a gun used to defend someone's life or used to prevent crime. And most of the media will never talk about that. So I will. So let me get to first story here. Got three defensive gun uses. And we'll get to some local stupidity out of Philly. So coming to you from Chirac. Two shot at Buffalo Wild Wings. Two people were shot outside of Buffalo Wild Wings at Chicago Ridge. Police confirmed multiple shots were fired by an individual around 8:20 p.m. The firearm used in the incident has been recovered. Two people were shot and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. According to police, three people approached a man and his girlfriend and attempted to get into their car. So it sounds like a strong-arm robbery, strong-arm carjacking, in this case, force, meaning three men. And the man sounds like, from what I'm reading, did what men are supposed to do, defended the woman, had a legal concealed carry, and he shot at them. Good. Don't carjack people, you won't get shot. One of the people who approached the couple was arrested and charged with battery, according to police. According to investigation, police said no charges would be filed in connection with the shots fired. They said the incident was related to an ongoing domestic-related disagreement. Sounds like some hood rat shit to me. All right. Next one we have. When I do these, I usually try to do in a video, but I don't always get a news report. This is a short one. Man armed with alleged machete shot several times in Warrington. The Escambia County Sheriff's Office says a man was shot several times for approaching a home with an alleged machete. An alleged machete. Well, that's not really a hard thing. Alleged. I mean, he either had a machete in his hand or he didn't. It's not really something that's hard to miss. When somebody pulls out a 2-foot, an 18 to 24 inch sword that can literally chop off your arm with one swing. Yeah, I'm hoping I have a gun or two or four. Shooting happened on the 1100 block of Decanter Avenue around 11:30 p.m. Saturday night. Deputies say the shooting victim did not live at the residence and was shot at by the resident's homeowner. According to the sheriff's office, the victim was transported to the hospital and is suffering from non-life-threatening injuries. No word on if any charges will be filed against the shooter or the trespasser. At this time, the shooting is still under investigation. That's all the information I have. Shot by the homeowner. I don't know what happened. Might be Castle Doctrine. Or maybe the homeowner just shot this guy for no reason. I don't know. All right. Next story now. Getting into some Philly news. Check this out. Sounds like Philly residents are just getting tired of it. They're getting tired of Larry Krasner. And, you're learning that as much as you might support the police, if they're not there, it's up to you.
And now to do some more breaking news from overnight. Police searching for a group of men who they say tried to steal an ATM from a store. This happened just before 3 o'clock this morning on 60th and Market Streets. Police tell us 4 men tried to take that ATM, and then the store's owner started shooting at them. The suspects.
Look at that. Can't get a job. They making a food desert. They're not hiring us. There's no jobs. But you somehow found tools. I want to get this straight. There's no jobs anywhere, but you can find tools to rip off an ATM. Have you ever tried building something in your community instead of destroying your community?
Ran off and no victims were reported being shot. At least, we should say, no arrests have been made so far in that case.
So it sounds like this guy was just trying to scare them. And I mean, again, I understand why he's shooting them, because they're not scared of anything else. They might be arrested, but Krasner let him out the next day. And clearly, if they're working on an ATM, I mean, I would say your life is threatened. 4 men versus 1, yeah. But if he's in the same store with them and he's firing and he didn't hit any of them, it sounds like he's just trying to scare them to get them out of the store. But I don't disagree with what he did. Why should this guy have to lose his store because you hood rat ghetto motherfuckers can't get a fucking job? So you can find tools to rip off someone else. Okay. All right. And then there was a shooting at the King of Prussia Mall the other day. So the hood is just coming out to the burbs. Can't escape it.
Recordings.
Scene as shots are fired near a crowded King of Prussia Mall 1 week before Christmas. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Martinez.
And I'm Sheba Russell. Upper Marion police telling us those shots were fired between one of their officers and a hit-and-run suspect. A brief chase ending in the parking lot of a busy restaurant. Our Kelly Rule has much more.
Police would only tell us tonight that this driver is a 27-year-old man from Philadelphia because he has not been charged yet, though those charges are coming. Police do tell us he is still in the hospital, but is expected to physically recover and could be released to police custody as early as tonight. Evidence markers climbed to at least 27, a red Nissan riddled with bullet holes. It happened in the parking lot of a popular King of Prussia restaurant next to a bustling mall 1 week before Christmas.
It was a good day, but it sucks that you have to come out from a good day to craziness.
Upper Marion police say a chaotic chase of a driver involved in a hit and run ended in the season's 52 parking lot with a shootout Sunday afternoon. Police say around 2:30, a woman notified them that her car was involved in a hit and run, and the striking vehicle, a red Nissan Juke, drove off. Shortly after, police say they...
Okay, so the guy gets in a fender bender. He leaves, probably because he doesn't have a license or insurance. Because now in Philly, they have a new law called driving while black. In Philadelphia, they can no longer pull you over for minor traffic or minor driving violations, insurance, license, taillight out. The police can no longer pull you over. So this guy was an offender bender, which means, now that's insurance. But just imagine you got an offender bender and then your response is to have a shootout with the cops. I'm sure they'll blame mental health.
They found the car parked in the lower level of the green parking deck.
When he got up to the vehicle, he noticed that the suspect was now hiding in the back seat. But before he could take him into custody, the suspect was able to jump into the front seat, into the driver's seat, and fled away.
Chief Thomas Nolan says the driver tried to speed away but got stuck in traffic at the exit by Seasons 52, then made a right turn and jumped the 4-foot stone wall, got out with what police say was a 9mm handgun, and started firing at an officer. That officer returned fire. Once the driver was down, police say additional responding officers performed CPR.
And I have no problem with the cops wasting this guy. Look, man, if you're going to get out of, if your response to a fender bender is to get out of a car and open fire at a police officer, what chance does a normal citizen have? Imagine if the woman that this guy hit got out of her car and tried to talk to this guy. How do you know this guy wouldn't got out of this car and beat her to death? I'd have no problem with the cops smoking this guy, mag dumping in him.
Until paramedics arrived. Police would only identify the driver as a 27-year-old man from Philadelphia. Chief Nolan says people were.
Man, let me translate. Man means black, because if he was white or Asian or anything else, they would have already showed us the picture. Protected class.
In the parking lot at the time.
You have the largest shopping mall by retail space in the country. Sunday before Christmas, yes, it could have been very, very different. The actions of the officer in this case were heroic. It's a miracle that the officer was not injured.
When I was working, I did hear something and everyone kind of turned when they were shopping.
Lucas Reardon says mall crowds were equipped.
I wonder if this kid says we don't need the Second Amendment. But who'd you vote for? All right. And then had to cover this because it was just crazy. I'm sure everybody heard about Robert De Niro, right? And Robert De Niro and his black wife are super woke. The poor criminal. The poor criminal. And it was a female, black female. And here's the problem with New York City. Here's the problem. And I'm just going to let the news reporters say it.
Yo, sorry, get out the way.
Shanice, anything you want to say for yourself?
I
didn't murder anybody. Shanice, anything you want to say? I didn't murder anybody. Did you go into Robert De Niro's house? I didn't go to Robert De Niro's house.
That's a lie.
I didn't murder nobody, so I don't know why you got me recording.
I mean, it's gifts. You welcome. Yo, sorry, get out the way.
As it turns out, this girl has been arrested 17 times. Sorry, I thought I had the right video. Guess I don't. But yeah, she's been arrested 17 times. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can find that. Hang on. I just have to take my word for it. She's been arrested 17 times, and the cops saw her go into the home, and they followed her in. And Mr. De Niro and his family were home. I wonder how he feels about woke policy now. Now that criminals are breaking into his own house, I wonder if he'll still support him. I mean, she's black, so, you know, it's slavery's fault, right? All right. And then we had a subway worker attacked with a hammer in New York City. Hang on one sec. Here we go.
PA worker is recovering after being attacked early this morning.
Yeah, that's right. The suspect arrested after police say he made his way into a dispatch room. A frightening situation. Fox 5's Reagan Medji live in the West Village with the details. Good morning, Reagan.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, you said it. A 51-year-old MTA worker attacked while on the job inside the dispatch area here at.
But that's right, guys. Let's not let workers defend themselves. You're not allowed to carry a gun, but you have to deal with people attacking you with hammers and killing you or putting you in a coma, putting you in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Over what? Over nothing.
The 8th Avenue.
Fuck this guy. I wish this guy would have got blown away by a bystander. I wish they would have Bernie gets them.
14th Street subway station. Let's take a look at some video into the newsroom. And this is what police are saying, that it happened at 1:45 this morning. The suspect, a 29-year-old man, entering the MTA dispatch office. That
29. He's right. A black man. He's right there with the fucking Pusheisty mask on, or like a balaclava. Like, when are they gonna? When are the city gonna step the fuck up and say, okay, no more masks, no more hoodies? When are they gonna? When? High schools are already trying to do this. Academy Park in Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, the black community flipped the fuck out because they were trying to ban hoodies. Because when people commit crimes, you can't identify them. Gee, a black guy. He's black.
dispatch office. That's when the MTA worker confronted him. Words were exchanged. The suspect then grabbed a hammer and struck the 51-year-old in the head and took off, hiding underneath a train inside the
Look at them carrying him out like a fucking... Oh, it's hilarious. And look, that guy looks Asian, so it's not racist.
subway station that was stopped. Police were able to locate the guy, pull him out, and arrest him. Now the suspect now at Bellevue.
Don't worry, guys. The cops carrying him because apparently he forgot how to walk. NYPD is the most diverse police force in the country, so hard to cry race when Asians and whites are carrying him out. But I'm sure Ben Crump will show up.
Undergoing evaluation. As for the 51-year-old MTA worker who was attacked with a hammer, he is in the hospital in stable condition. And this is also to be noted, according to the New York Post, this is the fourth time an MTA worker was attacked while on the job within the past week. Last Friday.
Wow. What? Wait, last Friday? Oh, shoot.
Time an MTA worker was attacked while on the job within the past week. Last Friday, a subway worker was attacked at the Coney Island subway station by an alleged drunken banker. And then this past Sunday, a very, very crowded area at Times Square, well, the subway station there, two MTA workers were attacked, one punched in the face, the other one kicked in the leg while he was taking down the assailant. We're live here outside the 8th.
And I want to see the picture. I want to see the mug shots. So you can't even work in the subway. And imagine having to work a job and you got to deal with fucking animals like that. The guy walked into a restricted area, picked up a hammer and attacked the guy. And Governor Hochul doesn't want people to be allowed to defend themselves. Well, it's getting better. Don't worry. New York's just going to keep descending. Got a CNN article here now. Actually, let me cover this first. So this is from the New York Post. And this tyrant, governor, she created the Less is More Act, which the New York Post says it winds up freeing murder suspects. It turns out to be another let them loose law. Less is More Act means ex-cons can't be jailed for technical parole violations, such as missing appointments with their parole officers, breaking curfew, or testing positive for illegal drugs or alcohol. Among 17 releases from the Monroe County Jail under the new law Tuesday was Joseph Rivera, the suspect in the July murder with a hatchet of a Rochester woman. Happily, police were able to arrest him again the next day. Yes, Rivera was in the county lockup for a minor parole violation stemming from an earlier felony conviction, but cops suspected him in the bloody murder and didn't want him out on the street. Visiting Rochester on Wednesday, Hochul said, "The tyrant said, individuals should not be held because of a technicality. Those on parole have literally paid their debt to society. And we're simply saying the jails don't have room to keep these individuals who are not dangerous to society." I disagree. Murdering somebody with a hatchet is extremely dangerous and should be removed from society as soon as possible. The jail should have room to hold those who are dangerous, and the law shouldn't be helpless when it comes to keeping them there. At the very least, judges should have some discretion, just as they should on ordering bail, but New York lawmakers seem convinced that judges can't be trusted. Hochul even doubled down on her support for the law by insisting police should simply investigate and arrest suspects for any alleged new crimes, not for parole violations. But jail for a genuine parole violation buys investigators time, allowing witnesses to feel safe in coming forward. In short, this is another law tying the hands of police and prosecutors, a top priority for new Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin, who sponsored the legislation when he was a state senator, and perhaps for Hochul as she rushes left to fend off challengers in next year's Democratic primary. Hochul rushed to sign the bill in the wake of the Rikers crisis, making it easier to free inmates there. She also ordered transfers from the island to other jails. 2 COVID-positive Rikers inmates moved to the Ulster Correctional Facility, heretofore virus-free, led to an outbreak there. Looks like the new governor should be a little less eager to win headlines by helping out. Right. So now you can't be jailed for parole violations. And we're going to take it one step further with how New York is just, the police are just, there's not going to be any police come. I give it a year. And this is coming from CNN. So I'm trying to have, and I think CNN is garbage, just absolute, utter fucking trash. But trying to have a righty and a lefty news source here. So CNN, New York NYPD will no longer detain individuals at length while running background checks, according to settlement. The New York Police Department has agreed to prohibit officers from detaining anyone while running background checks on outstanding warrants in many instances, including in the event a person encounters police for minor violations, according to a class action lawsuit. Officers will only be able to detain someone if they have a reasonable suspicion that a crime is about to or has already been committed, according to the settlement. The settlement essentially removes a method officers have used to catch violent offenders, which involves running warrant checks after they were stopped for lesser violations. Critics argue the tactic was the latest example of the department conducting unwanted searches and seizures. I don't understand. A bench warrant or an outstanding warrant for a crime you've already committed. I'm not really sure how that's seen as an unwanted search and seizure. If you committed a crime, you committed a crime, right? I'm not really understanding that. For years, the NYPD maintained an unconstitutional, I hate it when you fuckers use that word. You deny every New York citizen the Second Amendment. You have no problem picking and choosing what you think is unconstitutional. Unconstitutional practice of prolonging stops to run warrant and I-card investigation card searches, turning each of these stops into an unrelated fishing expedition and subjecting our clients to harassment by police. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So something else the police can no longer do, which again favors the criminal. I mean, I don't know what to say. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? If somebody beats up their wife and they're supposed to go to court, or they're supposed to pay child support, and then they get a bench warrant, that just goes away. So if they go to another state and the police run the background check and they send that person back to NYPD, like I don't even know how this is going to work. And I bet they don't know either. It's just something else to get more votes. And finally, in my segment of They're Coming for Your Kids. Guys, it's all reversible, right? Guys, there's no long-lasting effects. Guys, you can go back to puberty anytime you want. There's nothing negative about any of this. What are you talking about? Guys, it's healthy to just cut off the parts and mutilate children. Very healthy. I'm just going to keep playing it.
Lawsuit in gender transition treatments for minors is underway. A young woman alleges she was coerced into treatments at the age of 15.
15. Anybody comes on my channel and says it's not happening to minors, get the fuck off of my channel. 15.
It caused permanent mutilation and damage to her body.
Ooh, good words. I like a man who can speak the truth.
Well, now 18, Chloe Cole is suing the nation's largest medical group. Her legal action may be the first of its kind in this country, and it could open a floodgate of similar suits. Heather Sells reports on what's at stake.
Chloe Cole charges that doctors said her gender confusion would not resolve unless she underwent medical treatment and surgery.
So she was lied to by every fucking doctor and counselor she talked to, maybe even her own parents.
And she adds they warned her and her parents of the risk of suicide. It was a decision that
She was coerced. They told her parents, if you don't do this, she'll kill herself. So parents have to be stronger. Don't you trust in the relationship you have with your children? I mean, the minute this started happening, my kid would be out of that fucking school in a heartbeat.
I was allowed to make at 15, and when they told me that I wasn't going to be able to breastfeed, at the time it didn't really mean much to me because I was just a kid. I was just in high school.
18-year-old Cole is now taking.
I wasn't smart enough to make a life-altering decision. I'm not old enough to consent. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing because I'm 15. I'm not allowed to vote. I'm not allowed to drink. I'm not allowed to smoke. I'm not allowed to own a gun. But I'm old enough to cut off my breasts. Oh, yeah, makes sense to me.
On Kaiser Permanente, the country's largest medical group, with more than 23,000 physicians, 39 hospitals, and over 200,000 employees.
I doubt this will make court. I doubt it. They'll try to hush this up as fast as possible. They're making $100,000 with every phalloplasty they're doing.
She alleges that Permanente doctors began giving her off-label puberty blockers 5 years.
Oh, Lupron! Lupron, which causes bone, can give teenagers osteoporosis, and can cause mental decline in the cognitive portion of your brain. Those are proven side effects. And they gave her this shit? Wood chipper.
Years ago, plus weekly doses of testosterone, and finally, a double mastectomy. Her pre-lawsuit demand letter alleges that doctors failed to explain the serious risks to her and her.
But they didn't explain the serious money they were going to make. Oh, this dumb bitch wants to cut off her breasts? That's like another $70,000 for the hospital. Let's do it.
Her parents, that they concealed that most gender confusion resolves with age, and that inadequately studied treatments amounted to medical experimentation.
Oh, I want this lawsuit. I want a fucking copy of this right here. That's going on the file.
They were selling a product, and they sold it not just to Chloe, but to many other girls.
Cole's attorney tells CBN News other young women are beginning to come forward and notes time is of the essence as many states have short statutes of limitations. In recent years, pediatric gender medicine in the U.S. has skyrocketed, with clinics opening across the country, leading to an explosion in treatments. Dylan agrees with many parents that teens should not be allowed to make such decisions.
Children of Chloe's age, when she had the surgery, they can't get tattoos, they can't drink, they can't vote, they can't serve in the armed services. And yet we are treating them.
They can't consent. Correct. You are taking advantage of children. Listen to the wording that they say. Gender affirming care. You're cutting off the parts of children. Oh, it's like women's reproductive rights. Oh, you mean when you murder the child? Listen to the bullshit and how they try to say what it isn't. Hey, we're going to cut off your child's labia. Oh, don't worry. It's gender affirming care. It's fucking disgusting. I'm sorry. I'll stop. No, I won't.
Fit to make permanent bodily changes.
CBN News contacted Kaiser Permanente, and the company stated it can't comment on the case out of respect for patient privacy and in compliance with state and federal laws. Doctors performed Cole's mastectomy in 2020. 1 year later, she told them she regretted her transition and stopped taking testosterone. In recent months, she has begun speaking publicly, becoming one of the more well-known detransitioners.
And here's another side effect I wonder if they're going to mention. Do you know that when women start taking large amounts of testosterone, their voice changes and it's permanent? Their voice gets deeper. And in all the detransition stories I've seen, that's permanent. That's for the rest of their life.
And I realized that I'm not the only one who is in this situation, and I need to start speaking up, because this is what happened to me. It's very real and it's being silenced.
A similar lawsuit is underway in the United Kingdom. Analysts like the Heritage Foundation's Jay Richards warn a legal slugfest could be coming to the U.S.
We're going to have thousands of young people who are detransitioning. They're going to be mad at what's happened. And so I honestly think maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, that this is all going to end.
Newly formed professional healthcare groups are calling for more research on ways to best treat gender confusion, or what's known as gender dysphoria. They are alarmed by the spike in numbers, especially among teen girls who identify as boys. Andrew.
Thank you, Heather. Chloe, obviously extremely brave and courageous. How likely do you think we are to see more
But that's the fucking problem. You realize that she got the surgery because everybody said you're brave and courageous. But then, of course, the doctors coerced her parents by saying, well, if you don't do this, if you don't let us make $70,000 to $100,000 on the surgery, she's going to kill herself. Meaning you're terrible parents. Parents have to be better than that. They have to be stronger than that.
transitioners suing? And then how might it affect the field of gender medicine?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, as you said, Chloe is courageous, and it takes a lot to go up against a medical group like Kaiser or another. And a lot of times for these detransitioners, it takes a couple years to realize that they regret and that they want to switch back. And so by that time, they can miss the statute of limitations. But if Chloe's case is
And the statute of limitations, there's a bunch of bullshit with that too. Don't worry. Don't worry. They did that on purpose.
successful going up against this huge medical group, it could really raise awareness in the trans community, kids who are thinking about detransitioning, and it could open up the gates for more lawsuits, and that could change the calculus of hospital risk management teams as they evaluate these procedures and these treatments and how they want to go forward. Andrew.
Yeah, Heather.
Oh no, you're saying there might be an impetus to not cut off the parts of children, and then hospitals will have to find another way to scan people? Oh, that sounds terrible.
And as our viewers may know, the Biden administration tried to force religious hospitals and doctors to perform gender transition surgeries. So what's the status of that mandate now?
Right. Just last week, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals pushed back and blocked the mandate. The 5th Circuit Court of Appeals did the same thing a few months ago. And this man.
Wow, the Democrats trying to force religious hospitals to also mutilate children. Wow. You still going to vote Democrat? But who'd you vote for? Oh, it makes me fucking sick. So anyway, I'm big time. That's news to me.